en tu vida, de altibajos y aventuras, que fue detrás de tus encantos, tu loca risa y tu dulzura, desconociendo tu pasado, vine a caer entre tus manos, no sabías que eras coleccionista, ahora me doy por enterado, no quiero terminar viviendo en un abismo, de estar contigo y no saber si soy querido, tampoco ser un fracasado, pues otros tantos ya has amado, si hoy me toca a mí sufrir, mejor déjame a un lado. Uno más en tu vida, uno más de aventuras, contigo voy a terminar viviendo en un infierno. Uno más en tus brazos, uno más muero despacio, contigo voy a terminar viviendo en la amargura y la locura. Uno más que a tu vida llegó, uno más que por tu vida pasó, desconociendo tu pasado, vine a caer en tu engaño, en tus brazos, uno más muero despacio, contigo voy a terminar viviendo, y poco a poco mira voy enloqueciendo, en tus garras cayó, y sin fuerzas quedó, no podía vivir sin verte, y ahora solo deseo perderte, que va a fracasar, pero que va a terminar, ilusionado con tus mentiras, tu hipocresía, tu malicia, en tu vida de aventuras, contigo voy a terminar viviendo como si fuera un infierno.
Welcome to Entre, Nosotros on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. I'm your host, Gilberto Gonzalez. My guest today is Mina Saywhat from Power 99. Welcome, Mina.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's just jump into it, and let's start with where you were born, how your journey in your early life.
Well, I was born in Peru. I came here when I was 1, and we actually came to a city called Union City in New Jersey. So there's a large Cuban population in Union City, and I actually went to school with Dominicans, and my mother dated a black guy. So I kind of got like all these different points of views and just culture around me, and I learned a lot about different kind of people. So
Wow, that's amazing. So you're Latina, but your experiences are really kind of like an American experience.
Right, exactly. I've been exposed to a lot of different kind of people, a lot of cultures. Not only that, like my grandmother's from Spain, so I have that, and then I went to Syracuse, and it definitely opened up a whole different kind of people. I interacted with all different kinds of people, and if you know Union City and Jersey City, New Jersey, it's kind of like a bed for a lot of cultures. So I've been exposed to Asians and people from the Middle East and things like that. So I think I can get along with just about anybody because of where I grew up and how I grew up.
You went to high school in
Union City,
and then you went to college in Syracuse.
Right, I went to Syracuse University.
And what was your major?
Television, radio, and film.
And again, like what sparked that interest and why that major?
When I was in high school, I was on student council, I played sports, I always was speaking in front of people, hosting pep rallies. I didn't realize that these were skills that I was developing as a kid. So then when I got to school, I actually thought I was going to be a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
I started taking like political science classes and stuff. So I really didn't know. I kind of just fell into it. Like I found the school radio station. I was trying to find an extracurricular activity when I got to college because I was so involved in high school. So I wanted to continue that. So I ended up finding like the school radio station by mistake. And
By mistake.
yeah, like I stumbled on it, like, what's this building? What's in here? There's a radio station. Just as I was exploring, and there was a TV station right next to the radio station. So I just was naturally drawn, and it's like once I got in there, I never left. Like,
so it was like a connection that.
right. And then I actually just decided to pick up another major after that. Like I had a political science major, and after like the first semester in college, I picked up a television, radio, and film major, and like transferred into their communication school. So I had a dual. And then it's funny, like after I found out that that's what I wanted to do, I told my mom, like, listen, Mom, I'm going to pick up another major. I don't really know where it's going, but I know that I like this and I'm good at it. And I just want to continue to do it because it makes me happy. And then she's like, well, I was on the radio in Peru. And I'm like, really?
Wow.
So I just thought it was interesting how this is something about my mom that I didn't know and something that she enjoyed as well. And now I was taking up a major in it.
Wow, that's pretty like amazing. That's like a made for movie TV, because it's like you never knew that about your mom.
Yeah, I never. Like we never even talked about it.
Wow.
And even when I was a kid, like my mom would listen to the radio all the time, and I think it rubbed off on me a little bit too. And I would record people off, you know, these different radio stations and record the music on the tape before like bootlegging. Like that was bootlegging back then. You would record the DJ and the music off of the radio on a cassette tape. So I remember doing that, and I don't know why. I just would do it. And then when I finally figured out that this is what I like to do, I felt like everything that I had ever done when I was a kid made sense.
Made sense.
And it just probably was something that I was meant to do.
So what kind of music did you listen to just growing up?
I listened to a lot because my mom really liked pop music, but then like my cousins, I have a big family, so we're all very close. So all my cousins are like my brothers and sisters. I'm an only child, but I feel like I have 100 brothers and sisters. So like my cousins, like one liked reggae, the other one liked dance music. My mother listened to pop. I liked hip hop. My cousin liked hip hop. So I just, I grew up listening to a lot of different kinds of music, so.
What about Spanish? Did anybody?
See, yes, we did listen to Spanish music, but my mother was a little different. Like, she listened to more pop music than than Spanish music. And obviously, when you grow up with a Spanish, like, my whole family is Spanish. I obviously know all the big songs, El General back in the day.
Oh my God.
Yes, like when reggaeton first came around, like I was
Yeah.
really into like Tego Calderon because I liked rap. I always liked rapping, and he just rapped in Spanish, so I thought that was cool. Obviously, like when Daddy Yankee came around, I was like, oh, Daddy Yankee. But we didn't, like my mom didn't listen to that. My family listened to Spanish music, so it's definitely in my culture. But it wasn't something that my mom listened to, and I don't know why. I just was interested in hip hop. It's just, I really don't know. I can't even remember.
So now, like in Syracuse, right? You were TV, radio, and film, and then when you said you found this radio station and you became part of it.
Right.
Now, why not TV? Like, what gravitated you more toward the radio?
I remember one of my first big TV classes, and like there's levels. So you go from script writing to lighting, and you learn all the the things that make the whole production. So I remember my first class, I was maybe like a sophomore, maybe a junior, I don't remember, but it was the first class that incorporated all the elements that we learned. So I had to sit there. For some reason, the teacher picked me to be the person speaking. I was the anchor. And everyone else got assigned like behind the scene jobs, camera, lighting, teleprompter. Here I come and you give me the anchor job. So I'm sitting there in the anchor seat and I'm like, this is a lot to handle. I'm like, I have to read the teleprompter. I have to be on time. I have to know what camera to look at. I'm worried about the producer in my ear. There was a lot going on. So I'm like, I think I need to focus on one thing and get good at that. And I realized that TV is a lot harder than people think, as is radio. But I feel like I needed to accomplish and master one thing before I can go and do the other.
Okay. All right. Yeah, totally understand that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, look at this. This is a lot going on here.
No, yeah, definitely. So now you graduated. Did you graduate as a radio, TV?
Yeah. I graduated with a dual major, political science television, radio, and film. And then I actually picked up a minor because I'm a slight overachiever. And it was a music business minor. So I learned about contract law and stuff like that.
Oh, wow. So you really
like
actually...
entertainment business.
So you actually covered, in college, you covered a huge scope of what it is to be in radio and entertainment.
Yeah, I always say that. Like, college radio is so important. College is so important. Like, I had these raw skills that I just had because they were given to me. And I went to school and I mastered them a little bit. I mean, I've definitely learned and grown a lot since I graduated. But I feel like the foundation that I was given in school was so good that I can literally jump right into what I was doing and be successful at it. And, like, Syracuse did that for me. You know?
Like the transition, because like in Philadelphia and in this region, Latinos have one of the highest dropout rates in the nation. I think it's over 60%. And so like the transition between high school and college, how was that transition for you?
Transition. It was very difficult. I think financially was one of the bigger things, only because I didn't have the money to go to Syracuse, and it was a very expensive school, and they gave me like a full academic scholarship, but that didn't cover room and board and books and things like that.
Oh my God.
And then even when you went to like Newhouse, which is the communication school, you have to pay for class fees and camera fees and things like that. So I think financially I was very worried, even though I had a scholarship, but I still didn't know how I would make money day to day, week to week. I didn't want to put that burden on my mom because my father died when I was young. So me and my mom, it was always me and my mom, and I don't like to burden her. Like, she worked like 3 jobs when I was a kid, and I watched her work that hard. So like anything that I could do to alleviate and like take things off of her plate and not make it that difficult, I would do. So I would never even thought about coming to her or asking her or anything. So I had to figure out, how am I going to get money, or what am I going to do to make sure that I can survive inside of this, new environment. So I got I got a work study job and, things like that. So I made it work, but that was my biggest thing. I worked a lot in high school, trying to save up money for college. And I wasn't really too worried about the environmental change. I was always a very independent kid. I had to do a lot because my mother worked a lot, so I had to do a lot of stuff on my own.
Right.
The money was always the biggest thing. So the transition was really just, what can I do to make sure that I can stay in this school because I really like it here.
Right. That's a lot of passion and a lot of like, just tenacity that you just didn't want to give up on that. And that's I want to commend you for that, because I think a lot of youth in high school, when they're like thinking about what to do or how to do it, that hits them. Oh, how am I going to pay for it?
Yeah.
How am I going to, even coming to community college, they're like, well, I don't have the money to pay for that. And they don't realize that they can get financial aid.
Right.
And there are other ways of getting aid and hard work too. I mean, it's not going to be an easy ride. It's like a lot. The more work you put into it, the better results you get. I mean, you're a perfect example.
Well, I remember like all I did as a senior in high school, I just tried to look for every scholarship that I could fit, anything. Like, how they have like left hand scholarships, you have curly hair scholarship, like every scholarship that I felt like I could realistically get, I would. So I applied for it. So I did that. And then I also did like a lot of waitressing jobs and catering jobs. They were like $15 an hour jobs.
Oh, wow.
Like catering jobs. So I got into that. And then I worked a lot of food. Like I was a waitress, and I worked at the school dining hall. And like that eventually paid off, because then I was there for 4 years. I worked there for 4 years. I became the manager. And then I would eat for free. So now I didn't have to worry about meals.
Awesome.
So I was like, yes, winning.
There
like,
you go.
I figured out how I don't have to pay for meals and still put money in my pocket.
There you go.
So I like made it work. But yeah, when I go to speak to kids, I always tell them, I always try to tell every kid I speak to, never let money be a reason why you don't go to school, because you can always get a loan. Well, I don't want to, come out of school in debt. Like my intern just said that to me the other day. I'm like, honey, you're going to be in debt your whole life. Just get used to it now and just incur the right debt. Incur debt because you decided to get an education, and then you'll pay it off later. Don't incur debt buying stuff that you don't need. Right.
Actually, that's actually a good segue to talk about, we have a small clip of you speaking to a group of kids, and it's, I don't know if you want to introduce it. Introduce it, and then we'll take a look at it.
Okay. So here I am speaking at the Philadelphia Center for Arts and Technology to the students with excellent attendance. You go to school every day and you get good grades, you will get a scholarship to a school. So don't ever let money be the reason why you don't go to school. Go to work every day, go to school every day, and try your best, and don't take any days off. And you guys are already on your way because you have perfect attendance. So that's all I had to say. I just want to thank you guys.
Wow, that is just incredible, man. So tell me more about these kids.
I speak to a lot of kids. I meet a lot of kids. I try to speak to kids as many times as I can. I remember when I was a kid, and even in college, I did a lot of seminars and I watched a lot of people speak, and I feel like they really inspired me. So I have a little problem with the way that the system is now, especially for education. The school that I went to was not the greatest, but there were teachers that were amazing. And I feel like those teachers really helped me and shaped me in a small way. So it makes me a little sad that there's a lot of layoffs going on, especially with teachers, and a lot of cutbacks in schools and stuff. So I try to go and talk to them and help them see that it might sound cool, or my job might seem like amazing. I talk to artists and stuff, but it's not that simple. There's a lot of hard work involved. There's a lot of sleepless nights, and I love sleep. So sometimes, I have a rough time with it, and just explain to them a little bit that it's more about hard work and perseverance and, really knowing your craft and working hard. So that they at least hear that from somebody.
And going to school, not missing a day.
Yeah, and that it's specifically there, I told them, like, there's somebody out there that's not taking days off, and they're 100 steps farther ahead of you. So you guys are doing a good job because you're going to school every day. So when you go to work, you only get a certain amount of days that you can take off, vacation days, sick days. I don't think kids really understand or realize that. So I think it's a good thing to start talking to them about it so they get used to it. And, they get used to going to school every day and not calling out.
What was your first gig or your first time in radio, your first experience?
I was lucky. I think half of what happened to me is preparation with perseverance with luck. I think they all meet because I had a job before I graduated, and that never happens. And
You had a job in radio before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had a job at Sirius XM, so that's where I worked. So my hard work, someone noticed it, alumni noticed it. They felt like I was special. I don't know why, but he gave me a job. Well, he put me in the position to get a job because I still had to go get the job. He forwarded my resume to who needed to see it. I had to do 7 interviews because they were like, she's too young. We don't know.
7 interviews?
7 interviews. Oh my God. With all the way up to the senior program director. And at Sirius, there's a lot of stations. So it's very like a pyramid kind of. So I had to meet with the senior vice president of programming.
Wow.
This is not like a program director. This is the vice president of programming. This is the guy that oversees everything on, Sirius XM. In addition to the HR lady, in addition to everyone under him. 7 interviews.
Wow.
Because they were like, well, we don't know. She has no experience. She's in college.
Was it because they did 7 interviews because you were so young, or because that's a process?
I don't know.
Because that's an insane process.
Yeah.
I mean, how long from the first interview to the hire date,
It took me 4 to 5 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So somebody really wanted you. Somebody really saw something amazing.
I don't know what they saw, but I mean, our alumni network is amazing, and Syracuse is just like known for that.
Wow.
And I didn't realize what kind of group I was joining. And somebody just noticed that I sounded good. I didn't even, somebody noticed that I worked hard. I sounded good. By that point, I was already the program director of the school radio station. I was the vice president of programming of the school radio station. I was on every day. I had all the classes in radio. All my radio professors loved and knew me. So it's a little bit of a word of mouth thing too. Like there's this girl in my class that, she really loves what she's doing. So I think it was a combination of a couple of things. I met somebody that was impressed by the fact that I was on air every day and that I sounded good. And I was also programming the station, and he was impressed with how the station sounded. Yeah, at Syracuse.
So now, what was your position exactly?
I came in as programming, and I was programming they're the people that make the decisions behind what gets played, how long it gets played, the things that play in between the songs.
Oh, wow. So that's a real hot, it's a lot of technical and timing and all that.
Well, here's the thing. I knew all the equipment already because I learned it in college. So I already knew all the equipment, and I was so blessed. I learned how to program from like people that were already programming, alumni that took the time to come and mentor me when I was still in college.
Wow.
So I already knew the basics. I'm telling you, I had the foundation thanks to all these people that helped me along my way,
Very cool. Wow.
So I started off on the low end though. I started off as a music programming coordinator. So I basically like put songs into the system, and I had to work my way up. It wasn't like I was handed an opportunity,
Right.
So I had a full-time job, and that's all I was worried about. I didn't want to put that financial burden again on my mom.
Right.
So I knew that once I graduated school, I needed a job. Whatever it was, I needed a full-time job,
Right.
and I needed to support myself.
Right.
So I did that. So I worked my way up. I eventually became a program director for a radio station, and then I eventually got on air. And then
you got on air first in New Jersey or New York or?
Well, Sirius XM is national.
Oh, so
Sirius XM is based out of a couple of different places, but I was in the New York location.
Cool.
So I was there for 4 years, and then
on the air.
Right.
Wow.
And programming. So I had 2 job titles. So I was so tired half the time. But again, I think they noticed that I loved what I did and I had a passion for it. And I was willing to work hard, and they allowed me to prove myself and move up. So I'm pretty lucky.
So now from there, let's just bring it back to Philadelphia. Your Power 99 FM is probably one of the more well-known hip-hop stations in the country. I mean,
they've been around for 30 years. They're called the Heritage Station.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's not a lot of hip-hop stations that have been around for that long.
Really? Wow. See, and so like here's a Latina, and I think a lot of people on the radio don't know you're Latina because they don't see you, they hear the voice.
Right.
But here's a Latina really into the hip-hop culture, the African-American culture, and I think that's just incredible. I think it just brings everybody closer to what we should be. We should be a part of the city, be a part of the fabric of the city.
Right. I think hip hop is growing. It used to be a very select number of people or culture that listened or type of people that listen to hip hop. I think it's now popular music, which is why we hear it on pop radio stations now. And I just don't think that hip hop has one face anymore. I think it speaks to a lot of different kinds of people. And every day I'm surprised by who listens to the radio or who is a fan of the music that I love, So I think that hip hop is so much more global now. So it allows for people who might have not been black or whatever to come in and enjoy the music as well.
They connect with you on the radio, but then when they see you in person, even though you're not like probably what they expected, they instantly connect with you.
I think that happens across every culture. Like I've had people that come up to me and they're Spanish or they're white or they're, black. I think people just are drawn to another person. You know, I myself all the time, like I don't try to be somebody that I'm not. I'm very honest and open about the things that I've gone through and who I am as a person. And I think people appreciate that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter like what color you are, what religion you are, or what culture you are. You know, it's like we're all people and we can all relate to one another. We all go through the same things. We have the same issues. We have the same problems. And I think that is really what joins us all. And I think people are drawn to me on the radio because I can identify to everyone just because we're all people and we all go through the same things.
Yeah. My 9-year-old loves your show. So we listen to it every morning driving in. That's the show
we like them that young. We like them to start young and then, you know, stay with us until they get old. Like, and then show their kids and then, you
exactly.
know.
So I don't know if it was by accident, but, or if they did it on purpose, they hired you, but you know, Power 99 has a higher Latino listening audience than Latino stations in the city.
I didn't know that, you know. If you're in Jersey, you either listen to New York radio stations or Philly radio stations. I remember for the longest, I would come down to Philly, the Jersey Shore, and I would listen to Power 99. Like, I remember that. Those are memories as a kid. And then when I was up north, I would listen to Hot 97. Right. It's just what I grew up listening to. So when I was ready to leave Sirius XM, and I love Sirius XM, but I left because I needed to grow and I needed another challenge. And when I decided that it's time for me to go, I need something that would challenge me in a different way. I wanted to be part of a radio station that I respected and held credible. And Power 99 was a station that I loved since I was a kid. So I wanted to join their team just off the strength that they have a great name and I respect that name. And I've been familiar with that name for a long time since I was a kid, old enough to go down to the Jersey Shore and, you know, hog the radio and be like, I want to listen to this. I want to listen to this. So that's why I chose, like, I want to go there. And then I realized, whoa, there's so many Spanish people here. I wasn't at all intimidated by or even thought about it being a certain station or maybe there aren't Spanish people in Philadelphia. That never even crossed my mind. I knew that I can relate to people. It doesn't matter who they are or where they're from. And this was the radio station that I wanted to be a part of because I respected that radio station. So I went there.
Well, Philadelphia and all of its communities are happy that you're here. I mean, you're awesome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yo, we love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
Well, that's all the time we have today. I want to thank my guest, Mina Saywhat from Power 99, for joining us today. I want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. You have been watching Entre Nosotros on CCP TV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. See you next time.